Hey guys, Charles Damiano back from the Bruce Lee collection for another exciting episode. In this episode, I'll be featuring this beautiful hardbound book that I just received from Rick Baker from Eastern Heroes, and it's dedicated to the Game of Death. It's a special collector's edition hardbound book, and he put it together simply beautifully. It has a beautiful cover on the front of Bruce Lee from the Game of Death, and it also has a really nice back cover. It says Game of Death Redux. So he talks about the Game of Death and all the different versions of the Game of Death that came out on this book. One being the one that was put together by Alan Canvan, who recently put out his version of the Game of Death, which is a really interesting article in this book. So you guys have to read that article. And I met Alan a while back, and he's also a big Bruce Lee fan and collector. And what he decided to do is he decided to figure out, because as we know, when Bruce Lee produced the Game of Death back in Hong Kong back in 1972, they always filmed the films with no audio. They didn't record the audio, they would dub it in later on. So there was a lot of missing dialogue on the Bruce Lee clips that they were able to find when John Little was involved in putting together Warrior's Journey, and they found the full 2 hours of behind the scenes and footage from the Game of Death. There was some clips that were in there that they weren't sure what Bruce was saying. So what Alan did is he hired a lip reader to figure out the lines that Bruce Lee was saying in the Game of Death at the time, and he put it out in his version of the Game of Death on this beautiful Criterion box set of all the Bruce Lee movies, and included in here is that version of the Game of Death with the missing dialogue. And this was a great set that came out as well. And if you guys haven't picked this up yet, I'll add a link in the description below so you can order this. This is the Criterion series of all the Bruce Lee films in Blu-ray, including the one that Alan Canvan put out with the missing dialogue from the Game of Death. So definitely recommend picking this up. I'll leave a link in the description below, making it easy for you guys to order this box set. It's really a beauty. But getting back to the book, so this is a really high quality book that Rick Baker put together from Eastern Heroes. In addition to the interview with Alan Canvan, he also has a really interesting interview with Chris Kent, one of the leading authorities on the teachings of Bruce Lee's JKD. He's been a Jeet Kune Do instructor for many, many years. He was one of the few students who actually visited Dan and Santo back in the early 70s. I believe it was 73, 74, right after Bruce passed. And he studied JKD all that time from 73, 74 to current. And he still teaches JKD to this day. And Rick was able to interview Chris Kent, getting his thoughts on the Game of Death and all the inside information that he received from Dan and Santos, who, as we know, had one of the characters in Game of Death in the nunchuck scene where he fights Bruce using the nunchucks, where we saw for the first time on screen a double battle between two opponents who knew how to use the nunchucks.
So with the speed and elusiveness of this thing here, all I can say is that you will be in deep trouble.
Nunchuck. So Chris gives his viewpoint on some of the missing footage of the Game of Death that was passed on to him by Dan and Santo. I know a lot of you guys have been talking about the missing log scene and a few of the other missing scenes, the outdoor footage of the Game of Death. Does it exist? interview sheds some light on those topics. So great interview, great article, great read. I highly suggest when you pick up the book, read through those two great articles. So now the other half of the book is a picture book dedicated to Game of Death, and Rick did a great job at putting this book together. He put it on a flat, glossy paper, and he uses full length photos of Bruce Lee, crystal clear from the Game of Death, as well as the article here by Alan Canvan on the Criterion Game of Death, which we just talked about. Some more beautiful full shots of Bruce. Again, full shots. So if you like Game of Death and it's one of your favorite movies and you want to see beautiful full shot images of Bruce Lee from that film in both black and white and color, I suggest picking up this book. And again, I'll include a link in the description below. It just came out. It came out in 2022. It's 101 pages, beautifully hardbound, and it's a collector's edition special. So if you want to add this to your collection, I suggest picking it up before it goes out of print and add it to your Bruce Lee collection. Again, look at some of these photos. Just magnificent of Bruce using the nunchucks. Here he is getting ready to square off. He has the whip in hand. There's the whip that we've seen him use for the first time. And again, the book is just magnificent. There is Alan Canvan standing by Bruce Lee's gravesite, which he obviously visited. Again, here's the article with Chris Kent, leading authority of JKD. Here he is with the double sticks, and here he is up here with double sticks and knife. Again, great article, getting his viewpoint on some of the missing footage in the Game of Death. And look at this, color images of Bruce Lee, simply magnificent. Really great information from the Game of Death. So again, if you're a fan of the Game of Death or A Warrior's Journey, which is the one I prefer, you gotta pick up this book. Photo gallery begins here, as you can see, and here is just goes on with just full page images of Bruce Lee squaring off from the Game of Death with Dan Santos, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as you can see here. Here he is with the Hapkido guy, and it's just a magnificent book. So again, some behind the scenes shots of Bruce Lee. And again, I can't flip through every page, but I'll make sure to add a couple of key photos from the book at the end of this video. So make sure to stay to the end, and I'm gonna choose some of the photos that you don't really see and put them into a nice little picture gallery to end off this episode. So that's it for this book. Beautiful, beautiful book, amazing book that Rick Baker put out from Eastern Heroes. If you don't have it, I suggest picking it up. I will leave a link in the description below, making it easy for you to order this book. So just click on the link, order it, and add it to your collection. I'd recommend it highly. And for those of you who are new to the channel and haven't subscribed, please do so by hitting the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, share the video, and add a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know if you have this beautiful book in your collection. Share it in the comments. And until next time, Charles Damiano from the Bruce Lee Collection, signing out saying, have fun collecting, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Take care, guys.